Okay, so welcome back to part 2 of my bow setup with this 2014 Elite Energy 35. All we've done so far is begin to take measurements. Axle to axle length, brace height, draw length, things of that nature. What I want to do today is look at another measurement that I take right away. It's really critical, but just FYI, it's a little bit more of an advanced topic, and it's something that doesn't apply to all bow and cam systems in the same way. So with that warning, I want to look at measuring cam synchronization and cam timing. At the same time, we'll also use this tool, a draw board, to look at draw length and draw weight one more time. Okay, so in addition to taking the measurements, I also want to give you a tour of how I built this draw board. It's an incredibly valuable tool for you to have as a bow hunter, and it's also easy to build and inexpensive. You could probably throw one together for under 50 bucks. Okay, so first let's take a look at this draw board, see exactly what it is and how it's put together. It's something that right now I have clamped to my deck mainly for filming. I normally have it installed on my workbench in my man cave, but the lighting's horrible down there. So as you can probably already see, it's a really simple system. I have a 2x6 stud. I have a floor post basically installed in the front with a threaded screw-in galvanized post. That's going to hold our bow in place. You can see that I've added a tape measure here, and that helps me measure draw length not only at the end, but also look at things like where does the peak weight happen during the draw cycle. Speaking of weight, here's a really simple scale I picked up off of Amazon, clipped to some carabiners, a turnbuckle, and then finally our winch. So this is the guy that does all the magic, draws the bow, keeps everything in place. The turnbuckle, as you'll see, is important for fine-tuning specific draw lengths. So our winch has a click system, so it's gonna, pull a fixed increment with each click. We can use this turnbuckle to really fine-tune the draw. Okay, so we have the bow on our post. It is in the deep section of the grip and the pivot section of the grip, just where you would hold it when you would be shooting it. We want to bring our hook up, obviously, attach it to the bow, and then draw it back mechanically. Since this is a brand new bow, I haven't even installed a D-loop yet. I'm going to talk about the safety system that I use. So all I have here is a standard piece of D-loop material. Tied it in a little knot in the end. And so I'm just going to loop it through like that. And boom. So now I have another place to insert the hook and make our draw. Again, when I have a D-loop on the bow, I will use this as a fail-safe and also hook our loop through the D-loop as well. Okay, so I got the hook on the string of the bow as well as through my safety loop. I've got my scale turned on. We're ready to begin drawing. Okay, so as you can see, we are at full draw. The bow's there at full draw, holding itself mechanically thanks to the winch, which has the stop engaged. As you can see, our hook is on the string directly as well as through the safety device. Our scale is engaged. See if you can see that holding weight right now is 13.65 pounds. Once again, everything's engaged thanks to our winch. So you can see a few things here. One, we now know our holding weight. Secondarily, we can also take our exact draw length measurement thanks to our scale. So those are nice things, but again, there's other ways to get those measurements. Obviously, you could use a static scale and a draw arrow, which we have talked about. What the draw board really becomes helpful for is looking at cam timing and cam synchronization. So let's do that now. As you can see on this Elite binary cam system, you have all these dots throughout the cam, and those are really just reference marks. So it's not that they should be in any certain place, because that sort of changes based on your cam orientation and draw length. They're, again, just reference marks for you to look at. Top and bottom, binary cam system, they should be lining up in the same place. So, for example, one way you can do it is looking at the dots with the limb. We can compare that. Another way, again, just the dots with the front and rear control cables. So what we really want to do is just make sure that those line up in the same places, and I'm going to do that now. Okay, so here's the Energy 35, again at full draw. We just got done talking about cam timing Cam Synchronization. As usual, this is actually the first time that I've put this bow on a drawboard straight from the factory. It's pretty much perfect. The top cam is slightly, like less than a 16th of an inch more advanced, and actually a lot of guys prefer it that way. If you're into something where you're looking at perfect, exact synchronization, you would maybe just need one little half twist or something. But again, a lot of guys like the performance of having that top cam slightly more advanced. I'm going to shoot this the way it is. I think it's going to tune in great. Another important note while we're talking about it, as I mentioned, this is the first time this bow's been on the drawboard. It's actually the first time it's been pulled back. I haven't even pulled it back yet personally. Keep in mind that, depending on the quality of your strings and cables, you're going to get some settling, you're going to get some stretch. So what you want to do is check this again after you have 50 or 100 shots through the bow. These all have winner's choice strings. They do great for me. I check it after 30, 40 shots. It's usually solid from there on out. I've had other strings in the past where there's more of a 100-shot break-in. But just keep in mind that things can settle or stretch, and you'd actually want to check this cam timing again after you get some shots through the bow. Also, this is something specific to the Elite cam system, but worth mentioning. A lot of guys will say that they time the cam based on the draw stops. And so on this cam system, there's a top and bottom draw stop, and they will really time, theoretically, the cam according to when the draw stops touch. Just keep in mind that the draw stops can be in different positions. So when you look at cam timing and cam synchronization, you really want to use the cams themselves and look at those reference marks. You want to make sure that those reference marks are in sync and in time. And then from there, you would set your draw stops so that they're in time. Usually they always are, especially from the factory.